What's going on, Guardians? Today we're going to get back into the build videos. I know I haven't posted one in a really long time, which is pretty unfortunate, but a lot of people have been asking for them lately, so I'm going to get back to doing these videos. I'm really excited for the start of next season. We have a couple more weeks left to go, so I want to get a couple more out there. However, I'm probably going to start moving away from builds focused around these artifacts, because the artifacts are going away and we don't know the new artifact mods for next season. And once the new season starts, these artifact mods will be gone and you won't be able to use them in your build. So today I'm just going to go over a final build with the hunter using these artifact mods. And just know right now that before this video starts, that this build will work perfectly fine after the artifact mod changes. It just might take a different artifact mod, or you might not have quite as much damage out of something like Thunder Coil. So today we're going to be going over my hunter. Today's build is all about Liar's Handshake and Archstrider in PvE. This is a PvE build. This isn't focused for PvP. We'll start getting to those in the next few videos. My Warlock is probably the closest one to having a really good PvP build. But let's get right into it. We're rocking Top Tree Archstrider. The reason we're doing this, the only reason we care about this subclass, is Combination Blow. Killing an enemy with your melee ability triggers health regen and increases your melee damage temporarily. So that's really good. Also, Combat Flow. Melee kills recharge your dodge ability. That's really important for the build because we're going to rely a ton on our melees. We have Lethal Current after dodging with Arch Staff. Creates a damaging lightning aftershock. Doesn't matter, you hardly use your super with this build anyway, so this isn't a really big deal. And then finally, Deadly Reach. Dodging increases your melee range, allowing you to lunge further to strike enemies. Pretty decent, obviously really nice for this PvE build. You get a little bit further lunge range, but in the end, we really just care about Combination Blow stacking up to 3 times for more damage. Along with that, we're going to go with Gambler's Dodge. We're going to pick this dodge over Marksman so that we can recharge our melee ability on a dodge, which is really great. So we already have some synergy within the subclass where whenever we get a melee kill, we get our dodge back. And whenever we dodge near an enemy, we get our melee back. So right there, perfect synergy between the two. You can pick whatever grenade you want. I picked Arc Bolt. And then we have Triple Jump because I like Triple Jump the most on my hunters. You can pick Strafe or High Jump if you want to for PvE. Next, we're going to talk about our exotic, Liar's Handshake. If you don't know what this is, then you probably came in with new light, or you just didn't hear about how crazy this exotic used to be. It got a little bit of a nerf in combination with a perk later we're going to talk about on shotguns called 1-2 Punch. However, it still works really well, still really deadly, and works the best with 1-2 Punch. Basically, the exotic perk is cross counter. Using your arc melee ability or being hit by a melee attack will allow you to follow up with an extremely powerful melee counter punch that will also heal you. So we already get the healing from our subclass, so that doesn't matter too much. However, the exotic does heal you. The main thing we're concerned about is using your arc melee ability will allow you... using your arc melee ability or being hit by a melee attack will allow you to follow up with an extremely powerful melee. This extremely powerful melee happens no matter what when you punch. So essentially, when you punch something, you get this really powerful melee, and it's really good for our build because our build is all about punching. To synergize with our punching build, we're going to rock a shotgun called Last Man Standing. This is the one I chose. The only reason I chose Last Man Standing was because it's my best rolled 1-2 Punch shotgun. So pick whatever shotgun you have that has 1-2 Punch and has other good rolls to go along with it. As you can see, we have Field Prep here and Extended Mag, so I have more ammo in my magazine. And Field Prep gives me more ammo in my reserves, which is really good, as well as when I'm crouched, I can reload really fast. And then we have Corkscrew Rifling. The barrel doesn't matter, it's PvE. Put a major spec mod on this so you can do a little bit of extra damage to those orange barred enemies, those yellow barred enemies, and it works really well. This combination of 1-2 Punch, Liar's Handshake, and combination blow create a ton of possibilities for crazy melee damage. You saw the clips at the beginning of the video where I was hitting for 80k a punch. Overall, just really, really strong, really great for melee. So our entire build is centered around melees and things like that. So in order, let's go over the weapons. So in order to kind of help us where our melee struggles the most, we're going to pick a far-ranged weapon like a pulse rifle. We have here Blast Furnace, or you can use something like a Go Figure, or even a Bygones works here. But any long-range pulse rifle, even a scout rifle, we just want a long-range weapon in our primary. A lot of this build is centered around our shotgun and our melee, so these kind of other weapons are really up to you to decide. I'm just kind of giving you a background, or just kind of giving you some information to go off of to try and find the weapon that fits that slot. So we're going with a Blast Furnace here, Feeding Frenzy Kill Clip, just an overall well-rolled pulse rifle. And then for our heavy weapon, we're going to choose a grenade launcher with spike nades or anarchy. The reason we're doing this is because when our combination blow runs out, our melee damage is significantly decreased, and we want an alternative way to damage a boss that A, we can't punch because we can't get close enough to them consistently, or B, a boss that has some weird timings where we don't have a combination blow up. So we're picking a spike nade grenade launcher, or you can use something like Wendigo. I have Swarm of the Ravens with spike nades on this one. You can see it's a perk. Basically, you're direct hitting a boss with spike nades, and spike nades increases damage on direct hits, so it works. It's a really good perk for boss damage. You can roll it on things like an Outrageous Fortune, you can roll spike nades on, or you could even use something like Wendigo if you don't have a spike nade grenade launcher. We just want some form of DPS where we can do it far away from bosses. For example, in like Garden of Salvation, you wouldn't be able to run up and punch the boss, so using something like this will help you find a way to do DPS. You could even throw an exotic in here like Black Spindle if you wanted to, anything that works for boss DPS. So let's get into the armor perks, because the armor perks are very important for this build. However, one thing you're going to notice is that my stat totals are really low. The reason is that we aren't relying on a whole lot of different stats here. The one stat we only care about is our recovery, probably. And the reason for that is because our subclass synergizes so well with what we're doing. We basically want to be using our shotgun as a primary weapon and our melee as a primary weapon. So we don't really care about our discipline or our intellect, because we don't really use our super a whole lot, and we don't use our nade like hardly at all. But what we do use a ton is our melee. So you're wondering, well, why isn't your strength really high then? The reason is because our dodge and our melee constantly reset one another so that they're never on cooldown for very long. If you ever get into a situation where both your dodge and your melee is on cooldown, and the way this is going to happen to you is if you go to punch an ad, you kill the ad. If you dodge and you're not near an enemy, then your dodge won't refresh your melee. When you're in that situation and they're both on cooldown, just find another ad and punch melee kill it. You'll get your dodge back, and you'll continue the cycle of constantly dodging, constantly having your melee active, and it's overall really good. So our primary goal with our build here is to focus on our shotgun and our melee. So in our helmet, we are running Shotgun Ammo Finder. This is going to increase the special ammo drops so that we have more shotgun ammo. We're also running Recovery mod. The reason we're running the recovery mods is because the higher this recovery stat is, the faster our HP bar is going to regen when we proc it with combination blow. Killing an enemy triggers health regeneration. The speed at which your health bar regens is going to be based on your recovery stat, which is why we want our recovery stat to be as high as possible. Going into our Liar's Handshake here, we're going to run Enhanced Shotgun Loader. If you don't have Enhanced Shotgun Loader, you're going to want to rock Shotgun Loader. The reason for this, obviously, we want to be having our shotgun is our main weapon, so we need to reload that as much as possible considering it has a low magazine, so this is well worth the investment. Pulse Rifle Loader, I'm using a Pulse Rifle, so it works well because Pulse Rifles and shotguns are both arc affinity, so it works well together. And Pulse Rifle Reloader actually really does speed up the reload speed of your gun, and it's only worth 1 point. Super convenient. And then if your Liar's Handshake is completely maxed out, mine is not, as you can see, we're going to run a Recov mod so that we can boost our recovery stat even higher. So ideally, this last Liar's Handshake here would have a recovery mod in it. To the chest plate, we're rocking, once again, we're just rocking double shotgun reserves. The more shotgun ammo, the better. We're prioritizing shotgun ammo over everything else. Then finally, you would want to run another Recov mod if this was maxed out. Our other option is to run Ballistic Combo, but once again, the artifact season's coming to an end, so I'd rather just run the shotgun reserves, plus more ammo, the better. Finally, in our boots, we're running Shotgun Scavenger. Super important here. It basically means that when you pick up a green brick off the ground, you'll get more ammo. Again, if our shotgun ever runs out of ammo, we're in a lot of trouble when we come up against majors specifically, because we can't proc 1-2 punch on them. And then finally, we have our recovery mod. Once again, we're running recovery mods all over the place, because that will just really speed up that will increase the strength of our combination blow and keep us topped off on HP as much as possible. Other things you could run here, if you're running a machine gun, you could run Machine Gun Scavenger. However, I would suggest going against that. You could run Pulse Rifle Scavenger, but I wouldn't do this because you don't want to increase those ammo drops and things like that. You don't want to mess with your primary ammo drops because your shotgun is your primary. And then you could run a Dexterity mod if you had like a maxed out boots here. You could run Dexterity just to improve the handling of your shotgun. Finally, in our cape, we're running Hands On, which gives us bonus super energy on melees, and we're running Thunder Coil. Thunder Coils are the arc artifact. If we didn't have Thunder Coil for next season, I would run Pump Action, just gain bonus super energy off your shotgun. This is just going to get you some extra super energy. Thunder Coil is going to increase the damage of your arc melee abilities, which is super strong, because it just makes our punches that are our main damage source just a lot better. Other things you could run here, it's really up to you. I just picked an arc one because of Hands On and because we're punching a lot of things. You could probably fit one of these finishers in because you don't use your super at all. You could opt for a different finisher. The main one I think you should opt for is, if Thunder Coil wasn't available, you could opt for Special Finisher, because that's going to constantly give you special ammo. And once again, your super honestly doesn't matter. It's really just a pop if you're in a pinch and you need to get to safety quickly. So that's the entire build. Really going over quickly 1-2 punch because I don't even think I covered it. Hitting an enemy with every pellet in a shotgun increases melee damage for a short duration. Obviously that's really good. It combos great with Liar's Handshake. And once again, this build is all about punching. In terms of where it's viable, strikes, it's perfectly viable. Vex Offensive, it's pretty viable. The only thing I would tell you to watch out for in Vex Offensive is when you have exploders around you. Exploders really mess with this build because you're up close with them, and if they explode on you, they could kill you. The raid, I see this as actually a viable option in a raid. You have a ton of survivability, you have a ton of damage. The only thing is you don't have a ton of boss damage, so in a raid, I would swap Swarm of the Raven for something like Whisper of the Worm for more damage for a boss fight. Otherwise, I think that's it for this build. This was the final build in our trio of builds about fun builds to use on each character. We're going to get into some more serious builds like raids and PvP builds, but those have to be a little bit more thought through, and they have to be a little bit more exact in terms of these stat totals over here. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you in another one. Bye!